All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the AleSmith Brewing Company, and they're out of San Diego, California, and this is their Speedway Stout. So this is Imperial Stout with coffee, comes in at 12% alcohol by volume, 70 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just over 5 months old, and I picked this one up at Red Wine and Brew in Mentor, Ohio on a day trip to Ohio back at the tail end of 2023. So in the description box, I'll post a link to the beer haul video I did that contains all the goodies I picked up on said trip, and I was so happy I was able to find this one because here in the Buffalo, New York area, we used to get AleSmith stuff all the time. All of their beers in the big 750s with the foil tops. It was fantastic. That's how I was introduced to Speedway Stout and how it became one of my favorite Imperial Stouts in general, but definitely my favorite Imperial Coffee Stout for many, many years. And about 5 or 6 years ago, we stopped getting distro of their stuff, which is an absolute bummer. So when I saw this one on the shelf in a can, nonetheless, I had to pick it up, even though it had a little bit of age. I sat on it for like another almost 2 months, but whatever. I've had this beer relatively fresh, like under 2 months old, and I have had it with a couple of years of age on it, and it's delicious every single time I have had it in the past. So I'm hoping that this can is delicious at just over 5 months old. So let's crack this one open and get it into the glass and see what we got going on here. Now, I did review a barrel-aged variant of this one back in, I think it was December of last year, and it was delicious. And I did say in that review, if I saw or found the base, I would definitely review it, and here we are. And I'm super pumped about it because, again, this used to be one of my favorite Imperial Coffee Stouts, or Coffee Stouts in general. It's such a good beer. And when I tell you what I paid for this one, too, at the price and availability, I don't remember being that cheap when it came in the big 750s. Anyway, yeah, that's pitch black, poured out, pretty much like motor oil. Has a finger of a super in just like insanely creamy head that is like mocha colored. It just looks so dense. Hold it up to the light. You can't see through it. We'll do a little bit of a swirl here for alcohol legs. Yeah, definitely legs. But it just looks so beautiful in the glass. Like, it just looks fucking fantastic. Fantastic in the glass. I cannot wait to get an aroma here. Yes. That coffee is so vibrant at over 5 months old. Like, it has like an espresso, just like a pungency to it, like a medium to dark roasted coffee, like just hitting me in the nostrils. But then there's this rich, fudgy, sweeter, dark chocolate kind of mixing in, giving me the mocha vibes, right? Underlying dark fruit like a plum, raisin, date. Touch of caramel, brown sugar, you know, your caramelized sugars, like your caramels and your toffees, and just, again, brown sugar in general. Maybe a touch of molasses. The mocha vibe is kind of dominating the aroma, which is awesome. Touch of like an earthiness from the hops, maybe a little bit of like a floral note. It just smells so, here's the thing, it smells so decadent and so rich, but also like it's going to be light on its feet when you drink it. Like it'll almost a crushable 12% Imperial Coffee Stout. I know how fucking stupid that just sounded, but I said it. I'm not taking it back. I can't even smell the booze in here. Do I know this is a big beer? Yeah, like the intensity of the nose definitely screams Imperial beer of some sort, but there is no like harsh astringency in the aroma. I just want to get into it. Cheers, everyone. What I love about this one is that it's older, right? Again, the can's over 5 months old. And a lot of people probably wouldn't buy a coffee beer with almost 6 months of age on it, right? Because, you know, a lot of times coffee goes sideways. You get that, you know, green pepper note, or it fades like a lot of adjuncts, right? I don't know what they do with this beer, but it is so vibrant still in the taste. It's fucking insane. And what I love about it, this is a no-frills Imperial Coffee Stout. What I mean by that is there's no other adjuncts, nothing crazy going on. There's no lactose. It's just Imperial Stout brewed with coffee. And it's just a really good beer. That's what this is. Body and mouthfeel. The body is thick. It's like low to medium full bodied. So is it thin for 12%? Maybe a little bit. But I would say, like, when I first had this like 10 years ago, maybe even longer at this point, I can't remember the first time I had this. It definitely like kind of shocked your palate of how thick it was. But now with so many crazy beers nowadays, it's not as thick as some of them, but it's still appropriate for, I think, the style. Yeah, like low side of full to like medium full. The mouthfeel has a nice mild to moderate carbonation, more approaching moderate, but it's smooth and it has a creaminess to it. Like it has a really nice mouthfeel for as much carbonation as it does have. The taste, the nose carried over almost to a T. There, from front to back, there's just mocha vibes throughout, right? Again, it's espresso. It's, again, a medium to dark roasted coffee, intense on the coffee roast, but there is this sweet dark chocolate, fudgy, almost brownie batter-esque kind of feeling that kind of mixes, and you get just mocha vibes, from front to back. There's underlying roasted malt component, which I wasn't getting the nose. There wasn't a lot of roasted malt component. It was more kind of blending in with the coffee, but on the palate, definitely like a roasted malt character. That dark fruit kind of hits halfway through the palate. Plum, a little bit of like a raisin, maybe even a touch of like a dark cherry. All three of those fruits. There's not as much in the nose as there was caramel, toffee, brown sugar, caramelized sugars, sweeter sugars. That's not as prevalent in the taste, although it is there. There's a touch of molasses. That's all like the first 2/3 of the palate. On the finish, however, the bitterness kind of ramps up, and this finishes with a moderately firm bitterness on the back of the palate. It's semi to full-on dry. So while there is a lot of sweet, decadent malt character at the front of the palate, kind of dancing on the tongue, you think, okay, maybe this is going to be a sweet beer. It is not all that sweet. It's pretty fucking well balanced, too. I'm drinking this entire thing tonight, 12%. And here's the thing. I didn't even talk about the ABV outside of the nose not really being able to detect it in the nose. The taste, there's no astringency on the palate. If I was doing this blind, I would probably guess no, probably not over 10 and a half. There's a nice warming in my chest, into my stomach, but like on the palate, there's absolutely nothing. This is an old school Imperial Coffee Stout done extremely well, right? There's no off flavors. I get the coffee. The base stout is coming to the forefront in varying degrees in a variety. There's such a variety from the malt character, like again, from the fruitiness to the chocolate to the caramelized sugars. It's really cool to see how they intertwine and mesh with that coffee. It's very well balanced from front to end. It's just a really fucking nice beer. Is it like my favorite beer ever? No, and probably never will be. It's like Imperial Coffee Stouts, the well done ones like this, I really do dig. But I don't gravitate towards them as much anymore because of the aforementioned issues I talk about. Like if you don't get them super fresh, some of them turn to green pepper. Sometimes they fade. So if I don't get one fresh, then you're playing with fire. And the reason I picked this one up is because I know the quality that AleSmith produces, and I didn't care that it was 3 months old or over 3 months old when I picked it up. I just knew this one can age. In fact, spoilers, I have an aged bottle of this in my cellar I have no idea. If I do Viewer's Choice Cellar Sunday this year, we will get to it. And I think it's like a 2012 or 13. Yeah, we'll see how the coffee is in that one. But as a whole, this is a fantastic Imperial Coffee Stout. That barrel-aged variant, I think it was the Vietnamese, barrel-aged Vietnamese coffee with vanilla edition. That was delicious, but the vanilla kind of dominated. And while I gave it a high score and I loved it, it was a little bit too heavy-handed with vanilla. And this, I think the coffee is definitely the predominant character, but it should be an Imperial Coffee Stout. But it doesn't step on the toes of the base beer, which is what I really want out of this beer, is a nice, again, dare I say, cohesive. Shout out to Paul over PA Brewing, who's forgiving me shit for always saying cohesive, but it's a cohesive, balanced, just delicious beer. It's fucking great. I'm gonna give it 2 scores though, and the reason I'm gonna give it 2 scores is just because, like I said, Imperial Coffee Stouts, I never usually just go ape shit over them, but this one deserves it. AleSmith Speedway Stout, Imperial Coffee Stout, for the style, Imperial Coffee Stout, this is a fucking 5. All day, every day. This is the perfect example, in my opinion, of an Imperial Coffee Stout done extremely well to a T. Like, this is what you want, right? 100%, this is what I want, right? Personal preference, if I gave that vanilla version, was that better than this? Maybe slightly. I'm going to give this a 4.55. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 4.5. I think I would go that high, but I just did, and I don't regret it. This is probably the best Imperial Coffee Stout I've had. Just no frills Imperial Coffee Stout. No other adjuncts, no barrel aging, no lactose, nothing. This has to be top 3, if not my favorite of all time. I don't know, it'd be tough. I can't think off my top of my head other ones that kind of compete with it. Yeah, I don't know. This is fucking awesome. I'm so happy I was able to grab it. Now, price point availability. I paid $3.60 for that can at Red Wine and Brew. I think 4-packs were like 13 or 14 bucks. Like, what the fuck? I remember paying for the 750s like easily in like the 10 to 12 buck range. So I wish we still got AleSmith here because I like a lot of their beers, not just this one. And if you're talking about $13, $14 4-packs for fucking something like this, that's insane at 12%. Like, insane. Availability, I don't know with AleSmith anymore, but they definitely get distro in Ohio. Check out their website. They probably have a beer finder. I'm sure they get all throughout, like probably the West Coast, definitely in California. This beer's playing with my emotions right now. I know, listen, you just turn it off if that sounds a little bit too sappy for you, but beers like this remind me of why I love beer in general, and specifically craft beer. But it also bums me out that like we're in a period now where you see breweries closing. A lot of these old school breweries are closing and pulling back distribution, and it sucks because beers like this are fantastic, and I wish I could drink these, have them in my fridge at all times, and I just can't anymore, and it really bums me out. But at the same time, I'm in a happy place because I'm drinking this. I gave it a 4.55. It's fucking delicious, and I'm going to finish the rest of that and enjoy every second of it. So if you've had this beer before, any of the variants, any of the barrel-aged variants, whatever, post in the comment section. I will say the 12%, again, I'm starting to get a huge warming, and almost my chest is almost on fire. So maybe I would guess, 11%, maybe 11.5%, but it still hides it well to some degree, but it's definitely starting to ramp up in my, in my chest and in my midsection. Still no astringency on the palate, but at the end of the day, this is fucking, this is it. I like it. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.